Hello everyone, my name is Financial Charles. Today is October 1st of 2023 and today the Bitcoin price is approximately $27,100. So as you guys can see here, we had a green September, which is not usual for Bitcoin. In terms of Bitcoin's history, September has historically been a bearish month. For the past, I believe, 7 Septembers, Bitcoin has gone down in the red. And this is the first time in 7 years that Bitcoin actually gained value. And this is pretty significant considering the fact that the S&P 500 for the month is down about 5% if we measure from the top to the bottom. Yeah, it's about 5.5% that the S&P 500 lost, while Bitcoin went up in value, I believe. Not too much. About I don't want to say that's 6%, is it? But let me just measure it one more time. Yeah, about 4 to 5% that it gained. And October historically has been bullish for Bitcoin, but let's see if perhaps this might be one of the rare bearish months for Bitcoin. Today, this video, I really wanted to finish up my last video about how I became a whole coiner. And I was watching last video and I did spend a lot of time talking about my investing experience in terms of Bitcoin in this whole cycle from the 2017 top to the 2019 pre-halving year, and then investing all the way up here. But I was kind of in a rush because I had to get back to work because I had already been away from work for longer than what my lunch is supposed to be, so I was kind of rushing it at the end. But today I feel like I can take more time and perhaps create a more quality video. And long story short, to sum it up, it really doesn't matter what I said the last video, because by the time this big red candle came, I had $0. I had no money at all. This was back when we were up here. I was very close to, in terms of net worth, my net worth was probably the equivalent to 0.9 Bitcoin, because during these tops, I had like $60,000. And then by the time this red candle came, this was when Three Arrows Capital got liquidated. This is when Celsius went bankrupt. This is when everything just went so, downhill. This was the worst month ever. I went from having, $60,000 up here to not only just having $0, but having $0 and negative $5,000 of credit card debt. And I'm ashamed to say that, that credit card debt, I'm not a very big, or at the time I wasn't a very big consumer, that $5,000 was leveraged to buy more Bitcoin at the top. So, this was maximum pain for me. I moved back in with my parents around this time, and then I just started working some jobs. And I spent this whole downtrend right here paying off, my debts and stuff. And I was slowly accumulating, but I wasn't lump summing my entire paycheck like I am doing. I was just, putting half into the credit card, putting half into Bitcoin and stuff. So I can say that I was, a matter of fact, buying here. And this little window right here, this little September to December window right here, I was working at a real estate firm, and I was one of the 2 sales agents, and I was telling my other sales agent, because he was, I was new and he wanted to get to know me, and I was just already at this point. I mean, I've been a Bitcoin enthusiast ever since all the way back here before the bull run even started, really. I dumped in my entire net worth around November, I would say. So yeah, this big candle right here that started off the bull run, by the time this was here, I already had a hardware wallet, and I put all my net worth into this, into the hardware wallet. Somewhere around January, this is when I discovered Celsius, and that's when I moved everything from the hardware wallet into Celsius, and that's when I started looping, which is borrowing against your asset to buy more of the asset and depositing the asset, and then borrowing against it again, and then doing the same thing again and again and again. That's looping. And that's why I lost everything in Celsius. So when I got back here, I was like, I'm done with the leverage, this, that. I'm done with the centralized exchanges. From now on, it's going to be in a hardware wallet. A couple months ago, Ledger lost all trust when they pretty much announced that whenever they want, they can just upload code into their update the code of the hardware wallet and have the hardware wallet send out your address in the form of shards to different companies. And that right there, you just lost all trust in anyone that's ever used your hardware wallet to store Bitcoin in cold storage. So I had to get I'm not going to say what hardware wallet I have now, actually, but it's definitely one of the best. And with that alone, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But I was telling my real estate, the other sales agent, yeah, man, buy Bitcoin. Not like that, but he was asking me, I don't tell people randomly to just buy Bitcoin. But I will elaborate if you ask me. If you were the one that's asking me about Bitcoin, I will elaborate as much as you want. And if you keep asking questions, I will keep on answering your questions. I remember this candle right here in November. He said, how much Bitcoin do you buy? I said, I put all my money in Bitcoin, every single check. And I said, every single check that we get every 2 weeks, bro, I just dump every single dollar into Bitcoin. And I remember showing him the chart when it was at $15,000. And I told him, well, he's like, because I remember this candle was due to FTX collapsing. It was due to FTX collapsing. And then he shows me the article the next day. And then he tells me, so like, are you still going to invest in crypto? Because like by all the sounds of this news, it sounds like you really don't want to be in this space. And I remember telling him right in this wick, it was literally the wick that I told him. I said to him, yeah, but according to historically, this is the very best time to buy historically. So I will just keep buying it. I told him that. The month of December, every single December, I lump sum a large amount. Every single December. And I bought this candle right here too. I bought these two candles, and then I started my new job around this candle right here. I experienced that massive upside, which was great. And then I kept on DCAing, aka lump summing every check. And now I'm here. And now you're probably wondering, how is that enough money to buy you $26,000 worth of Bitcoin? And to be completely honest with you, I know I said I was done with leverage, but how did I get here at a whole coin status? I use leverage. And let me tell you why I use leverage. I think to take out debt in the form of a currency that is always being devalued and losing purchasing power each year, in a way that's an asset. And especially if it's low interest, imagine if you get a 3% interest rate on US dollar debt. That's an asset because the US dollar loses more than 3% worth of purchasing power per year. So in terms of purchasing power, each year, the amount of purchasing power that you owe each year, it decreases. It becomes less and less. And that's not even looking at the asset side of it. That's just looking at the debt that you took out. If your US dollar debt increases by 3%, but inflation rises at 7%, that means that each year that goes by of you just holding that debt, you owe 4% less in purchasing power each year. Now, what are you going to do with that debt? Now, if you spend it on consumer goods, then, that is a loss. You're not gaining anything. If you take that debt and you invest it into a valuable asset, such as stocks or real estate or Bitcoin, now this is the recipe for success, because you just took out debt in the form of a continuously devaluing asset, and then you use those funds to buy an asset that continuously goes up over time. That means as time goes on, you're gaining money because the amount of money you owe is less and less, while the amount of money you own is more and more. So, with Bitcoin, I think it's totally worth taking out however much you want. However much you want to take out $10,000, $20,000 for some Bitcoin. to buy one of 21 million Bitcoins to ever exist, I think that is a good trade, because $26,000, well, let's just pretend I didn't take out $26,000 worth of debt because I already had Bitcoin. So I only took out enough to finally surpass myself over the edge, right? So, but let's pretend I had 0 Bitcoin and I just took out a $26,000 loan to lump sum. Over the span of a couple of years, that $26,000, it's going to go down in purchasing power value over time. So by this time next year and the year after that and the year after that, I will owe less in purchasing power. Whereas this 1 in 21 million Bitcoin that I have will continue to go up over time, especially once April hits and, the supply shock really happens, and the block reward for each block mine goes from 6.25 to 3.125 Bitcoins per block mine. This next halving is the halving in which the stock to flow of Bitcoin is now, it's twice as rare as gold. Gold you can inflate at 1% per year. This is going to be the next halving will turn the inflation rate of Bitcoin to 0.5%, which is going to make it the hardest currency the world has ever seen. And what's so crazy about that is, the 2024 halving is about 8-9 months away, and this is nowhere near the end of it. Bitcoin has so many more halvings to go. You got the 2028 halving, you got the 2032 halving, you got the 2040 halving. By the time the 2040 halving comes, the block reward for a block mined is less than 1 Bitcoin. So that means what we have today, if you have a whole coin today, you own more than a whole 2040 block reward. And what is $26,000 of debt going to be? Now if I had to take out $26,000 of debt and now you're charging me a 7% interest rate, now that's something that you probably don't want to do. That interest rate will compound and eat you alive. If you can take anything out less than 5%, 3% that's a no-brainer. But even if you can take it out 5%, like I heard, these banks and these checking accounts, or not the checking account, but the savings account, these people are paying you 5% interest on your dollar right now. So if you can get a loan for less than 5%, there you go. That's how you do it. I think leverage is the main thing that makes real estate so valuable. Real estate investors, they depend on leverage. They depend on leverage to make their money. No one's buying $2 million homes up front. Even if they could, the best thing to do would be to finance it, get a low interest rate, and perhaps put that asset to work and have it earn cash flow, and have that cash flow pay for the mortgage, all that stuff. In terms of Bitcoin, I don't care. If I took out leverage, let's say I took out $26,000. For example, I took out $26,000 or to buy Bitcoin at $26,000, and it drops down to $13,000. I'm fine with that. Because I'm just going to keep on buying and buying and buying and buying. Each time it drops, I will buy more, and my cost basis for my Bitcoin is going to lower. So imagine this. I'm going to turn on some drawings, right? I'm very ashamed to show these lines on YouTube. It's terrible. But imagine these candles right here goes down and down and down. I will buy here, I will buy here, I will buy here. By the time it recovers back to where it is right now, you're in profit because you bought all the way down here. And these profits cancel out the losses that from you buying up here, let's say, right? Let me do the DCA calculator right here. Oh, come on. Please don't take too long to load, because I want to make a point. Alright, well, you know what? If it's not loading, then I will just make another video about it. We're going to make another DCA video. Alright, well, never mind. Here we go. So let's set the starting date, right? Let's set the starting date to the very top of the bull run, which was 2021, 11/11. This was the very top of the bull run. And what is September 10th? Let's just say, yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. Let's just pretend that right now it's September 10th. And, you DCA, if you DCA'd $100 a week, starting from the very top of the market, you wouldn't even be down. You would not even be down. You wouldn't have lost money. You would have spent, like you would have broken even. And this is considering the fact that you started your DCA all the way up here. And if you just kept on being persistent and buying all the way down, and you just continue to buy, it's not even at where it once was, but you're broke even. You broke even because the gains that you made from DCAing here, it cancels out all the losses that you experienced from DCAing up here. We're not even halfway of the all-time high. And had you started DCAing at the all-time high, like, you'd be good. You would, break even. And even if you were to push this back a little further, if you were to push this back maybe like a couple months, let's say. Oh, well, that completely just disproved my point, but let's just ignore that. I'll make a whole nother video about the DCA calculator so you can really truly see the power of DCAing. But the point of the matter is, if you just stick to a DCA strategy, more likely than not, you will find success. And, don't even be scared to take out leverage. But don't take out leverage after the bull run. Don't take it out after the bull run. You take out leverage up here after you see all these green candles. That's not the way to do it. Now, I say we're still pretty close to the bottom. We're still pretty close to like the 15, 20K range, right? So I would say that we're definitely closer to the bottom than the top. I think right now is the time to, to take out leverage. I know that it sounds like such bad advice to tell you to take out leverage to buy Bitcoin, but over the long term, and fundamentally, it makes sense to take out a low interest debt in the form of a devaluing currency and exchanging it for a forever appreciating currency. It fundamentally makes sense. I know in practice it's volatility. Bitcoin doesn't always go straight up, and the value of the dollar doesn't always go straight down. There's a lot of noise, but when you ignore the micro noise and just look at the macro picture, you'd be fine. You'd be fine. Just continue to DCA. It doesn't even matter if you get to a whole coin or not, but obviously to be a whole coiner it's an honor, it's a privilege, because there are 300 million people in the United States, and there's only 21 million Bitcoin to go around, and that's only in one country. There's 8 billion people in the world. There's only 21 million Bitcoins. Bitcoin is not just a United States currency. It's a global currency that you can use in every country. You can transfer value in minutes to any point in the world. You don't need any permission from any bank. You don't need to wait for any funds to clear before you're allowed to move your own money. You can move your Bitcoin to wherever you want, whenever you want. It's permissionless, and people all over the world accept it, and it'll continue to be that way. And, kids are being born into the world today. They're slowly going to grow up, and they're slowly going to see, all right, Bitcoin is the best performing asset. Like, all these kids that are being born today, I promise you, they're not going to be investing in bonds. They're going to be investing in Bitcoin, which increases the value of Bitcoin even more. This is the currency of the future. This is the currency of future generations. There's only 21 million, so if you can, get your hands on just one, that's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. How many? I'm at a loss for words, I guess. I'm at a loss for words. In terms of where we're going by the end of the year, the end of the year is December. I don't know. I hope we go down for sure. I hope we go down, but if the market proves us wrong, then it proves us wrong. If the market goes down, then sure, I may have lost money on my trade in the short term, but it gives me more of an opportunity to accumulate more coins, accumulate more. But if I don't get the opportunity to buy lower like that, and let's say that this October candle just keeps going, and then November, December, and it just keeps going up, at least I can say that I took out leverage to buy right here, and now it's all the way up here. That's a winning trade. That's a winning trade. So yeah, what are my upcoming goals now that I've surpassed a whole coin? My investing strategy, it does not stop just because I have over 1 Bitcoin now. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop investing in Bitcoin. I will continue to accumulate. Because 1 out of 21 million is just an arbitrary number. You can go on Reddit. It's just an arbitrary number. People like round whole numbers. That's why being a whole coiner is something to strive for. But someone that has 0.5 Bitcoin or 0.1 Bitcoin, they experience the same percentage gains as someone that has 10 Bitcoins. And the whole point of buying Bitcoin is to just protect yourself from inflation, protect yourself from the devaluing of the currency in your country. Doesn't matter how much money you have. You can have $10 of Bitcoin. You can have $50,000 of Bitcoin. At the end of the day, you're owning a piece of that pie. If Bitcoin is a pie and there's 21 million slices, and people keep on buying Bitcoin, this pie as a whole grows for everyone. So everyone's slice of the pie gets bigger. So this is I guess I'm just very bullish on Bitcoin. I could end the video now, but I have time, so I want to express with you some of my other concerns. I do think that a lot of people are too bullish. I think what I've learned from experiencing this move right here is just to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. I really think right now a lot of people are very bullish. I've also seen some bearish sentiment too, so it's really tricky to really know, are we majority bullish or majority bearish? I think it's completely split evenly. As you can see here by the fear and greed index, we're at neutral, slightly going towards fear, but for the most part it's half and half. So what am I going to do if it's a half and half and go up or go down? I'm just going to keep on lump summing every single check. Well, I'm going to be slowly paying off my debt too, because I don't want to hold on to, I know I said it's good to hold on to that, but I want to slowly start paying it off, and then once Bitcoin just completely breaks out of this range and probably goes to the next level or something like that, then yes, you got to cash out and pay off your debt, so that way, and then just sit with the profit. But I think everyone's so bullish. I look what happens when you type in Bitcoin on YouTube. First thing you got George is talking about. But George is always very bullish. All of these are just bullish headlines, and you're telling me, I don't know. I think all these people are just so overly bullish, or probably not overly bullish, but there's bullish sentiment. I don't see any bearish sentiment. Now, maybe it's just my algorithm and YouTube just wants to feed me hopium, but even on Reddit, Bitcoin is superior to gold in so many ways, which is true, but if we assume that, this is a direct reflection of human psychology, there's so many people that are bullish, and the Bitcoin markets, they like to surprise people. I remember every single person was bullish, even Matthew Crater from Bitcoin University. When it hit $69,000, he said it was going up much higher. But really, it was him claiming that it was going much higher that marked the top. Now, Bitcoin University is the best YouTube channel, or the best Bitcoin channel on YouTube. I think if you had to narrow it down to one Bitcoin YouTube channel, even me included, it would have to be Matthew Crater of Bitcoin University. But even then, he will get things wrong, like he did here. But over the long term, he's not wrong. He said it was going to go much higher than 69,000, and over the long term, he's right. He just wasn't right when he made the video. I guess that's a side note. Be careful about YouTubers. Just don't take what they say as, guaranteed word. Don't take anything I'm saying as financial advice or guaranteed word or anything. I am just simply a Bitcoin investor sharing my personal opinions on the market. I think a lot of people are so bullish, and I'm leaning more on the cautious side. And I'm hoping, if I just keep on being cautious, perhaps the market will surprise me. And if I had to choose between two pains, pain number one is Bitcoin blasts up, and I didn't buy as much as I wanted to, versus I put all my money in Bitcoin and now it's gonna drop 50% to $13,000. What's more painful? I think definitely the drop to $13,000 is gonna be so much more painful. Now, like looking at this move right here, like this first move at the beginning of 2023, it was painful because even though I had my whole net worth in Bitcoin already, I'm just like, man, I really wish I just had more money so I can keep on putting, so I could have just had more gains, but that's greed. That's greed right there, So I think this was a pretty good video. I think I did well in explaining how I became a whole coiner. I certainly did use leverage, unfortunately, but by the time we hit new all-time highs, the debt is going to be long in the past. This over the next year, I cannot wait to see what unfolds for Bitcoin. Hopefully we get more opportunities to buy lower. Do I think that it'll go past the November low and make new lows? Personally, I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe because I said that, we're going to go down further, but we'll have to see. All right, everyone, continue your DCA strategy, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys in another video. Oops.